So good afternoon, Angela.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Tell me a bit more about what brings you into my office today.
Well, my friends are all leaving for the summer. Well, I mean, one of my best friends, she's leaving for a month. And both of my other best friends are leaving for 2 weeks, and they're all going back home.
Mm-hmm. And home is where?
Home is in Quebec, so we're all from Quebec, and they're all taking a trip to go back for the summertime, and like the only one who's not going back. So, getting pretty worried about them leaving.
Okay. Tell me what makes you worried about them leaving.
Well, I guess I've been having a really hard time with being alone, and knowing that they're leaving. Like I feel like my, support system is being pulled out from under me. So I'm just kind of starting to feel worried about having to deal with being alone while they're gone.
Okay. There seems to be a lot of concern around being alone. Is that something that you've dealt with before?
No, not necessarily. I guess it's pretty brand new. I've been struggling, with being alone lately because I've been living on my own now for about a month. I've never lived on my own before. And I guess it's also kind of following a breakup as well, like the reason I'm living alone right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit more about that breakup and how you think it might be contributing.
Well, I have never had to live alone, and now I'm living alone as a product of our breakup, my ex-boyfriend's breakup. I was previously actually living with my friends before I moved in with him, and now we lived together for maybe 4 to 5 months, and broke up, and it was not a good breakup. It was very messy, and now as a product of that, I'm living alone, and I don't know, I'm just really struggling with being alone, or like being okay with being alone.
Okay.
And I feel like I am worried about getting caught up in my own head and doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing.
Okay. So I want to do a bit of a recap here. Your friends are leaving for Quebec for an extended period of time. And you're also dealing with the aftermath of a breakup. And these two things are kind of combining. And you're worried about being alone for the first time, away from both this relationship and your support system, your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Lately, when I'm alone, I mean, I've been falling into the habit of seeing my ex-boyfriend again. And I just am worried that I'm going to get even deeper into that habit when my friends leave. Because now, while they're here, I'm able to just feel like, I'm just going to go and see my friends and not go and see him.
Yeah. So do your friends kind of play like a moderating role where they kind of actively prevent you from going to see your boyfriend? Or are you just more aware of your actions in going to see him while they're around?
I think I'm just more aware of going to see him while they're around. Because also, they don't like him.
Okay.
They don't think we should still be seeing each other. And so when they're around, they're always kind of like, let's do something, or I have the option to go and see them and kind of use that as a way a tool to maybe not fall into habits of going to see my ex-boyfriend.
Something to occupy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something to, somebody to just be around. Because honestly, I almost feel like there's something wrong with me with like not being able to be alone. And so I get in these like moments where I'm just like, when I am alone and in my apartment, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. I just feel like almost like frantic, like I need to do something, I need to see somebody. And now that they're going to be gone, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to just be falling down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, so I hear kind of two things. One of those things is you don't know how to be alone. And another one of those things is you're worried that when you're alone, you're going to visit your ex-boyfriend. So that latter thing, visiting your ex-boyfriend, is there anything outside of that that makes you worried about being alone or makes you uneasy about being alone?
I guess it's not something I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
I've also come from like a big family, so I've always been around a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I hold this belief that humans shouldn't be alone.
Yeah. And
that we're meant to be in company with other people. Like we're like instinctively wanting, we're supposed to, be with somebody.
Yeah, it's natural to want people around. It's part of the human condition, sort of thing.
Exactly. And so when I'm alone, like I feel like I don't know if I'm holding on to that too much or not,
mm-hmm.
but I like beat myself up sometimes where I just like, I feel like I'm really hard on myself about not being able to be alone.
Yeah.
But then I go to this place where I'm like, well, actually, it's okay to have a hard time being alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm just trying to, I guess, balance like how, like what.
Yeah. Do I believe that human beings should know how to be alone, or do I believe that it's natural for human beings to want to be around other people?
Yeah, exactly. And then just all my friends keep telling me too is like, why don't you just be alone? Why don't you learn how to be alone? Like they phrase it in a way that makes me feel bad that I don't know how to be alone. Because I guess like, I don't know if they're saying that because they don't want me to be with my ex-boyfriend, but I'm just kind of like, I think it's normal to like have a hard time being alone. So with that, like, and it does feel easier when they're around, because when I do have these moments where I'm like, oh, I don't want to be alone tonight, or I'm having a tougher day, or something like that, they're around and we can go and hang out and do something like,
It's always nice to have somebody
somebody
to be around. Now, as we're talking, I can kind of feel this conversation, and I think I alluded to it briefly a few moments ago, but I just want to go back there again. I hear two problems, and one of those is not being able to avoid spending time with your ex-boyfriend and not knowing how to be alone. Which of those two things do you think would be more beneficial to focus on right now?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, right now, I say, like, I should learn how to be alone.
Okay.
And I shouldn't be doing things because I don't know how to be alone.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where my mind is going.
So would you say that your tendency to call your ex-boyfriend is a symptom of you not knowing how to be alone?
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I feel like if I knew or I was more comfortable with being alone, that I wouldn't call him or try to see him as much as I am. Yeah.
And I'm sorry if this seems a little off base. So would you say that the tendency to call your ex-boyfriend and spend time with him is more attached to your inability to be alone, or would you say there's some attachment to him as a person that's causing you to do that as well?
I think it's a bit of both.
Okay.
Like, our breakup in general was very messy. It feels like we never had that closure. So I think it's both like we never actually closed or ended on a good note. And I also don't know. I have a hard time being alone.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't help, like him and I are kind of both of those people that don't like being alone.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to push the closure, and I don't want to push the closure. So we often just like stay in this limbo.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in when neither one of you is really the kind of person to kind of step in and create that boundary of ending the relationship.
Yeah,
more
but
firmly.
Lately I've just been having a lot more thoughts about, okay, I should like probably learn how to be more comfortable being alone, because I don't want to like end up doing things or deciding things because I feel lonely.
Yeah,
which is sometimes what I think happens when I see him. Like, not to say it's like always the case. Like, it's a little bit of both of that attachment. Like, our relationship never really ended very neatly, and I also don't know how to be alone. So it's like both of those things, I guess, play a factor.
Well, it sounds like learning how to be alone is where you want to take this conversation or what you want to focus on right now. So I want you to engage in a bit of abstract thinking about this problem and walk me through a day where your fear of being alone or your uneasiness with being alone doesn't exist and what that looks like.
Okay. Would it be like a work day or like weekend?
Whichever one you feel is
I know,
more...
like maybe the weekend would be harder because there's like more room to more free time. Like, what am I gonna do when I'm not working?
Yeah.
Work days would feel maybe a bit easier just because there's just the evening.
Well, do you want to start off with the easier one?
Actually, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea because I'm like, oh, that'd be really hard to do the whole like weekend. I'm like, oh, that's even so scary to think about right now. Okay, so if it was a work day, I would get up. Probably late because I love to sleep in. Push snooze a few times.
I feel that.
Yeah. Mornings too. I have this weird analogy, this side note, that living alone has made me think about the first time that I speak words in a day. Like you can go until noon if you like living alone until you see somebody and say words out loud. So I'm like even caught up like in my head with those sort of things. So maybe I would wake up in the morning and I would call my friend, or I would put some music on or something so that I'm filling that silence. Yeah. That in the morning I always feel kind of like weary, like waking up and it's just silent. Yeah. So I would wake up, push snooze a few times, and either like call somebody, call a family member, call my sister, my friend. Then maybe put some music on or put like some sort of show in the background while I'm like getting ready for work. Then I would get all my things ready for work, drive to work, listen to some more music, something maybe like upbeat and relaxing. Yeah. And then I would be at work and I would just be completely present at work. Okay. Too. It's something that I find I always have a hard time because I'm always wondering what my ex-boyfriend is doing. Yeah. Who is he with? Is he going to text me? My phone is such a distraction. So I think in a perfect world, I would just like put my phone away at work and I wouldn't look at it all day long. Like it would be in my bag and I just wouldn't look at it. And I would be present at work. I would be engaged with my families that I'm working with the kids I'm working with, be engaged with my coworkers, like be more of a team player, like take on more tasks because my attention is more present. So I guess fast forward through the day, end of the day, I guess I pull my phone out of my bag and I see a text from my friend being like, hey, do you want to come to sit by the river with me, let's say, like summertime or something. And then I say, yeah, and so I go home, change out of my work clothes, put work behind me. I mean, that's never really an issue. And go by the river and hang out with my friend and literally just hang out, laughing, enjoying each other, just like enjoying the sunshine, and again, not thinking about
being in that present moment.
Yeah, just being in the present moment, not thinking about again my ex-boyfriend or thinking about boys, I guess too, or just like wanting to check my phone to see if somebody's trying to talk to me or somebody's trying to get a hold of me. But mostly him, because I'm like always looking at my phone to see did he message me? Is he thinking about me? So again, being in the present moment and not looking at my phone. Okay. And then just enjoying the river with my friend. Then maybe like going home, making some dinner. Yeah. I often don't cook for myself, so starting to cook for myself, I'd make my own dinner, and then I get ready and go to the gym. Okay. I also would like to start going to the gym. I haven't been doing that, so in a perfect world, I would go to the gym, then I would come home, and instead of watching TV, I would read a book. Or maybe I'd watch a little bit of TV and then try to read a book. And actually, should probably find time to do schoolwork in there. Yeah. And that's pretty much, I think that's what that would look like.
Yeah, so two themes that I kind of feel like emerged a few times over the course of that perfect day are wanting to be present in the moment and not wanting to think about your ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. I think my phone, too, is like a big one in there, too.
Okay.
That I
not
wanting to check my phone a million times a second.
Okay, so if we could construct some language around those two things, does just staying present work for that one thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then for the phone and everything related to it, just how would you describe that in a few words?
Unplugging, yeah. That's a really good one. That's a good way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you apply these two things, staying present and unplugging, do you feel like those are things that you could work on?
I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they things you want to work on?
I do. I really want to work on putting my phone away.
Okay.
But
I'm detecting sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I kind of felt a sense of hesitancy when you said that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I tried, I guess. I tried, and I don't know. It's like
hard.
where do you start? Yeah, like where do you even start? I don't know where I could start, just because I'm so attached to my phone. It's like such a part of me, and then I'm like, I don't know. I guess like little steps I can do. I mean, I've already started to, like, I deleted some social media on my phone, so, like, I don't have Facebook on my phone anymore. And I did delete WhatsApp once, but I re-downloaded it. But, like, I guess, maybe doing some more of that stuff.
Well, did you find it effective when you kind of dialed back a bit on the social media?
I did.
I mean, I understand you did re-download WhatsApp.
Yeah. So I've had these moments where I like, it's effective, but then when I'm like low or I'm having that like freaking out, I'm alone and I'm just like getting caught in my own head with those like thoughts, then I'm like, and I cave and just like get back into that negative cycle.
I understand. Yeah. Okay, so how do you feel about everything that we've talked about today? Is there anything you feel hasn't been attended to or anything you'd like to touch on?
No, I think I described it as like a whole, like really got all the pieces.
Okay. So I'm just going to do a bit of a summary of what we talked about today, and I might miss a few things, so please feel free to jump in or add anything or correct anything that's not jiving with how you feel about the situation. So we started off, I heard that some of your friends are leaving town for a bit, and you're a little bit worried about that because they're a strong support system to you, and you're sort of worried about being alone, and you're not really familiar with that territory, that being alone territory. And that's also sort of connected to a past relationship. You feel that being alone might increase your chances of connecting with your ex-boyfriend, which will also kind of create a challenge in trying to get that closure.
Yeah, like a challenge in itself. It's like a can of worms almost, I feel, that happens when we start hanging out. Yeah.
And there's, also some concerns about being able to kind of unplug a bit and leave that but please excuse me, I'm stumbling on my words a bit. I've had a bit of a day too, but that's neither here nor there. So, is there anything you'd like to add to that summary?
No. Yeah, I think that really summarizes it pretty well.
Okay. Well, I think we have some, we did a lot of work today, and I feel good about where we're going next session. So why don't we call it, and I will see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you. Woo!